Firstly, I began my presentation. I showed to thanks these persons. Thanks to all of you to come here and to listen my presentation. And thanks to Dr. Bruce Larson and Dr. Kevin Ruxis for all their organization. Thanks the dean, give me this chance for our visiting scholar here, and there is very meaningful year for me and for my family. And especially thanks Dr. Kevin provide valuable research assistance and help in my study and living. Thank you. And now I report my study and research here in this year. And there contains 3 parts. My general work this year and my research work and my experience as source in Western Washington University, Migrant Education. This year I attended 6 classes. This classes is provided by these 6 professor, and this is meeting and the lectures I attended. It's about some smelly. I think in Western, there are many reports you can to take. And, nearly every week their report. You can provide many study chance to the students. It's very, very. I think it's very, very good. But in China, in my university, they're just maybe 1 semester. One semester is very long, maybe about 5 months a semester. Just 1 or 2 times we can to attend this kind of lecture or meeting. In this year, I finished some paper writing about 3 papers. I published one article. This is about Western rural education, in China, compulsory education, And I finished 2 two articles. This is same because this is my research, and this also is my project. You can read, maybe there's some mistake in the grammar and the words. I don't know if you can understand. Okay, thank you. And now I introduce my research about public school distribution, adjustment of compulsory education in remote mountainous areas in the western part of China. In this part, I introduce this consists of these 4. This is 1. Why China carry out rural school closure and consolidation. And the second is problem caused by RSCC. With RSCC is I create. Because it is simply. The third one is school distribution adjustment of compulsory education in the western remote mountain Mountainous, yeah, here in China. And this last one is my conclusion. Why China carry out RSCC? This ICC is kind of education reform in China that is from the 1990s and official study from 2001, yeah, in China, which refers to redesign the national rural elementary and middle school. In particular, is closure and zoning. Yeah, the zonings are these rural schools. Yeah, and gather students to some part of urban, especially in city and in town. Yeah, in city school or town schools. The background IACC. This is in our country, the whole country is carried out. So the Chinese government issued a document that was this decision on reform and development of basic education. This is just to aimed to a basic education. Is not is from element to high school. Yeah, to high school. Why to do this? And their background is the accelerating of urbanization. You know, urbanization in China is in this recent 30 years is developed very quickly. Yeah, many people from rural to the city, migrant to city and the city and to find some job. And then another is rural school age children reducing since 2000 because you know China is from 1980s they carried out the family family planning. Yeah, family planning. In the city, one family just born one baby, one child. Yeah, but in the rural, they can born two children. Yeah, this is our family planning policy. And so the rural population birth rate reduced because of the family planning policies carried out. And the rural schools scattered because especially in the rural areas, there are many mountain areas. So the school is very scattered. Here is distance is very far. Yeah. And the rural element school lack quality faculty, and the education fund shortage in China. You know, yeah, because this many of reasons, the China government and carried out this policy. Yeah, why they carry out this RSCC? The purpose is to concentrate these pressing schools together, and there is run schools centrally. Yeah, put together. They think is save money. Yeah, and they can use their teacher and the faculty. Yeah, and to integrate rural education and teaching resources. All of this is purpose. And the common features of the mountain areas in the western part of China, because my research is aims to the western part of China. And you look at this, there's this red field. There in western part of China is contains consists of 12 provinces here, and here their cover areas is about 71.4% of the whole country areas. Yeah, but their population is just 25% in the whole country. The most of people is gathered in the eastern country. Yeah, is eastern coast. Yeah, eastern coast in this country. These areas is very big, but the population is not very big. Yeah, it's little. And here the per capita GDP is just two-thirds of the whole country. Yeah, and less than 40% of the eastern region average. Can you understand it? Okay. In western China, they are complicated terrain, hard nature condition, and widely distributed mountain areas. In the western here, especially here, is very desert, very big desert, the second desert in the world. That is Macan Desert. Yeah, in this here, and there are many Gobi, yeah, and there is very popular. That is very poor areas because there are very many ethnic population in this district. And the nature of transportation, low urbanization level, and complete nature of infrastructure and public service, and weak culture quality. Yeah, their quality, this culture quality is no. Yeah, the consequence and problems caused by ICC. The first one is the whole elementary schools is reduced in a short time. Yeah, in just 10 years. You can see the elementary schools about 22.3% of total number of closure. Yeah, it's many schools. And the ratio of the rural elementary schools reduced in different areas in China, eastern, middle China, and western China. You can see in the western China, the elementary school reduced is very big. Yeah. And this also there's schools reduced, the number of reduced, number of closure is maximum amount this year. This is 3-year stay. Yeah, you can read it. The quantity change of the national rural elementary school and national elementary schools, and we can compare. Yeah, every day the number of school reduced 80. Yeah. It's also the consequence that are caused by ICC. This is a diagram about the rural elementary school closure and consolidation. It's the school number and the student number. Student number is not what I mean is that the schools is reduced more than the student populations reduced. Yeah, you can see from this to this. Yeah, as the ratio is so much. My research is aimed to the western part of China. I do some convey or survey and take the Wei Jiao province, and I choose this Zhaoxing town. I should to explain town and city in China is different from here. Administration organization system in China. In China, there are more than 30 provinces. This is every province there is a capital city. Yeah, this is the biggest city in every province. And then is the middle city. Middle city here like what count? You know what count? But here is your what count is a county. Yeah, but in China we call this middle city, and then is the county town. The middle city is administrated the county town, and the county town and also consistent by many small towns. With small towns, what is small towns? It's not just not in called town. Just is in the rural areas. Yeah, in rural areas. Not just the real town or city. Yeah. And in Birmingham is a city. Yeah, we just to change this city administrate a town, and the county town administrate small town. Yeah. So the closure and merge situation of primary and secondary schools and my survey town. This is the number primary school and elementary school and middle school before closure and consolidation, and after closure and consolidation. This is the number. I should explain what is incomplete rural elementary school. In rural, in China, there are many schools in the rural, in village. There are just 2 or 3 grade, 2 or 3 grade in some school, just 2 or 3. And this is, I call this in complete rural area elementary school. I don't know if is this right. Just I call this is a small, this not in complete schools. This is their number, and after closure is soon little. many school is disappeared or closed. This is all of these are school name, and this school name is school closed, and closed or merge or consolidation, and this just like this. This is two together in this school. Yeah, just like this. And this is school gift. Yeah, and this is the direction. On primary school service scope, because in the before maybe one school can conclude this kind of areas, but now this school is many service range is very big. So many students can't go to school. The problem caused by this SACC. Now children have to take very long journey because they work in the rural road to school lack of security, which led to the dropout rate increased. In 2012, there are about child dropout rate in elementary school has risen to 8.22 per thousand in China. That means that each year about 800 to 900 thousands of rural primary school students drop out. Wow. Yeah. Then another is difficult to enroll in school because they are very far. Some students is very little, very young. They can't to go to school, so it's difficult. And the difficult one is the school is scale is very big. Yeah, there is another difficult. And the other is two large class scale. There are many schools in the middle school is about over 80 students in a class, in just one class. And even some is over 100. Yeah. Large scale. And this is the class scale of the elementary school in our country, and townlet. A townlet is town, just town. Yeah. This is over 66. And in China, our class scale is 25. 25 is the China, how to say, asked, but almost class is over. Yeah. This is the class scale change. You can see over 66. Is great. Oh, how to increase? Yeah. This is a large class scale. You can see rural elementary schools class scale is decline, and in the city, especially in city, is very bad. Class scale is very big and grew. Yeah. This also. county and town, their increase is more than in the city. Yeah. This is the teacher and student number after ICC. You can see student number is this students as this teacher. Yeah. This is name of school, name of school, and this name of school and their teacher and student number. And this is the ratio of students and teacher. The problem caused by this, and another is the school expenditure increased, and the student safety and accident of school bus happened frequently. And shortage foundation facilities in bordering school, especially the village culture economy is destroyed and local identity lost. So because there are many problems and consequences caused by ICC, so in 2012, the Ministry of Education of the Republic of China proclaimed that stopped ICC blindly, because in China there are many places is planning to close or consolidation the schools, and they didn't pay attention to the situation. Yeah. And the village school, you can see these pictures. It's very poor, and the student is short. Yeah. And that is their school bus. It's just a school tractors. And the students climbing the mountain road to school. This is little girl goes to school carrying a torch to naturally to school. It's sad to look these pictures. Yeah. This is a very, I think this is very difficult and scareful. Yeah. This is a very big river. This is like Lanzhou River, yeah, in the western. This is go to school is very difficult. This is Guizhou in the western. Go to school by this roadway. It's very deep. This school, go to school students. Yeah. This is their route. You can imagine. This is children in village in Shanxi province. They go to school walk about 8 kilometers now, and they took more than 1 hour to school every day, especially in this snow day. Yeah. This is their route. This is the students in their life in bordering school in the western part of China. They are eating, have their supper or breakfast or this is in rural and this is in town. Town students bordering school. It's very different. their dormitory. This is the rural school dormitory, and this is the town dormitory. Then this is 300 students here. And this is a boarding school in the western part of China. That is rural. It's eastern. Eastern is their developed economic development is very high. This is a rural school, boarding school. This is also a classroom, a school. The blazing wind from the window, the students is here to study. And they are very, very poor dormitory. But they still don't have their hope. Yeah. And then I just see before the school bus accident. Every year, there are very big accidents in rural areas. This is some very big, very serious accidents in China. You can see. This is their school bus. It's the yellow bus. Is a color is same as American school bus, but it's different, very different yellow. Yeah, this accident. This accident school bus is converted by van. 64 students and children are covered in this big van. Many students is died in this accident. This is the interior of the bus. This word is compared with the American school bus. This is just a toy bus. This is just like a toy. Because there are no good road, some bus and down, dropped to the reservoir, or either from high to down, yeah, and many students is killed in this kind of accident, yeah. This is the rural school students. But the center school, I should explain. Center school is rural school. The management many very little schools, because for example, in this village, there is a center school. The administrative many incompleted school. Yeah, many schools. Their money and their funding, their teacher, all of this is administrated by these center schools. This is a county school. Is building. It's good. Yeah. They invest much money to build this kind of schools. Looks good. The students is very many students in a classroom. Yeah. This is city classroom. They are computer room, but in the rural school they had they no computer, uh, uh, no library, yeah, no computer, no sport instrument. How to do under the background of the new type organization in China. From 2014, China carry out the new type organization system. The main feature of China new typed organization is to optimize the population spatial distribution at cities and town structure, and to make the big city, medium city, and small cities and towns coordinate and develop. Because in China now, it's big cities very, very big, small cities very, very small. Yeah, their load is cohere, yeah, with. So this new type organization is to make this is coordinate, yeah, development. This is very clear, yeah. And in this study, my conclusion is public school distribution must be adhere to the rural population flooring, because now flooring before the rural population, many peasants to migrant to big city, but now some big city, some rural workers come back to their village and do their own work. Yeah. And this is the basic principles. And especially the construction of the rural school teachers. In the rural school, there are many teachers is having higher education experience. It's just their high school, yeah, graduated from high school. They are teaching in the rural schools. Oh, and this is the last part where I waste many times. Sorry. From my attend the class at conference or lectures, I think they are in Western, they are new education content, education idea, and novel teaching method. It's very new for me. Yeah, and their teaching and reading for students is very serious. Yeah. Lot of reading requirement, and especially is project-based teaching and learning. Students engage in learning process activity. And this, yeah, all of this is should I study and learn and to share to my students in China. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions?
Yeah, so let's have a discussion, very interactive discussion. Maybe questions people have, or thoughts, or comparisons, perhaps. So while people are thinking, so now they are changing the concept back to rural, letting the rural schools exist and stopping the closures?
Yeah, it stopped from 2012.
But those schools will always be closed. The
Yeah.
ones that are closed already, they're done, and they will not be reopened.
So I from the I read from some material. I think some will be reopened.
Oh,
What are they going to do with the rest of the property that's been claimed? Is it become state property? The schools that have
Yeah,
closed?
the property, the lack of money, lack of fund. Yeah.
I had a question. You mentioned in the western part of China there was a weak cultural quality. Could you kind of go into that a little bit more? What does that mean?
Because if there is a school in a village, you can the village people can hear the students reading and the class, and I think this school is a center of village culture of village culture. Yeah, so I think there is a school in a village is very different from no school. You know,
from a
how do you
different.
think about this?
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting, kind of defining what culture is within like a township, and so kind of hearing that the school is a major center point is interesting.
I have a question. Your presentation was really interesting, by the way, so thank you for that. What are they doing for the schools where all the students are coming? Are they trying to build on and make it larger to accommodate new students, or do they just squeeze kids into classrooms? Like, are they making more space because they have more students, or are they just putting more desks in rooms and trying to fit what they have?
Oh, China just issued file. I can see file. Yeah, the in 2020, you showed to make the class scale is a lot over the 25, 45 students. Yeah, they showed to how to say. With over 50 students are in our class, they showed to stop. Yeah, maybe I think they will to invest more for the school to the school and to build more classroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for the teachers that were in the rural schools, do they just not have a job anymore, or are they brought down and they help at the urban schools, or they just don't teach anymore?
Yeah, after the consolidation, teacher is will consolidation too.
Okay, so everyone goes into so they still get to teach. They're just at the new school.
Maybe they couldn't take class, but they can do anything other school job. For example, the boarding, management, the boarding, and student service.
Okay, interesting. Thank you.
How common is that, the boarding? Is it, you showed some pictures of students who are boarding and living away from their family. Is that like 10% of students, or 20% of students? 20% of students, or lower? So is it very common, or is it very rare?
Very rare.
It's more rare.
Is common.
Common
because after their consolidation and closure, the country, my country, didn't consider many other facilities.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just to boarding and next students to the school boarding school, but they are not many facilities to contain so many students. You know there is a big bed, but there are many students sleep together. Yeah. It's very very. I think it's how to say. It's not good. Yeah.
I have a question.
Mm.
At one point, that said the new style urbanization with the migrant workers that come into the urban cities, but that they are maybe not classified that they can bring their children to those schools. So then, in addition to the boarding school issue, you also have parents that are separated, you know, because they're going into the city, but the kids are still classified as being at the country and the rural. So that even though they're getting the benefit of the city, their children can't get the benefit of the schools in the city. Is that right?
Yeah, you said it's right. Now in China, there are about I think sorry let me see. Yeah, and now, for example, Beijing, about 500,000 migrant children. They count their students to the city, but they cannot get into the city school. And so in China, their students in city or in rural in their home, but their parents in the city to get job. Yeah. This the number is very very huge. Yeah.
Is there any chance that that could change as, you know, they reconsider closing schools? Might they also reconsider that policy? Is there a chance that they might let the children come with their parents at some point in the future?
Because China, you don't know, it is a household register system. Do you know this? For example, if you born here, you born in rural, you will be rural people. You cannot share the city
freely.
Yeah, many public service. Yeah.
So it sounds like that's pretty set. That is a strong mindset about that isn't showing change.
Yeah. And this will be changed gradually. And now China they called for to disappear this household register system, but I think this is really to work. Maybe need many time to as not time to
So it's a
Can you understand?
Yeah, no, so it's a fascinating thing, right, to think because of the incredible amount of people you need to plan for services for the people. So you restrict the movement by registering, and so restricting the movement of people from urban areas to rural areas to urban areas because they have a pass, basically have a pass, right? ID that you can't just move, or you can move, but you may not get the services or the paperwork, and so your children can't follow you, even though you're looking for the job. But maybe over time, it might change.
Yeah.
But the scale is such that you can understand why the restriction might be in place. Because once more, if you get 10%, that's talking millions and millions of people moving at once. So the scale is such a big scale that there have to be policies in place from a governmental viewpoint. From a humanitarian viewpoint, we worry, why can't you go with your family? But as other questions or thoughts maybe that other people have, and that are here. Any thoughts?
Mine
Go ahead.
was
Yeah. No,
the
go.
one that Griffin mentioned, so it's the same question.
And kind of an expansion of that question, you're saying that like the schools were kind of center points for a lot of those towns that became like the cultural center. So, seeing, what was it, 46 schools a day closing down, has that made a huge cultural shift from 1997 to 2012? Seeing it like very visible in the western part of China.
See again?
Sorry, I mumbled.
Sorry.
Has there been a large cultural shift in the western part of China as a bunch of schools close down because they're kind of the center point of each town?
Each town.
If you said earlier that the school is like a cultural place for a small area, all of the people come there and they gather together and they say hello. But if you close the school, there's no place to meet as a community. There's no cultural center anymore. There's no school. So what happens to a place? Where do people meet or gather together if the school is closed? And in the United States, there's a similar issue, I think, in rural areas. Some of the schools are closed, and then there's no, and even in urban areas. And so then there's less community because the school was the community center. And when you close a school, there's no center for the town. What do you think about that in terms of what happens in a rural area when the school closes? Where do people meet?
This is the mutual, I think, because many people, especially the young people, go to the migrant to the urban, and school is closer, and now the culture of the village is it's just because they're just left is the old man or old person, and maybe the some children, the parents come to take to the urban. This is the young and old person here. So it's the culture in the village is will destroyed. Yeah, it's mutual.
Right.
So as we kind of wrap things up, what I'd like to do is to ask people we often give feedback. This is something that was very interesting for me to hear you talk about school closures, or I really appreciated the photos you gave to us today. So I'd like to open it up for people to share feedback to Dr. Jiao.
I'd like to thank you for the presentation. I thought it was wonderful. It really opened my eyes to kind of my experience in elementary school and kind of the privilege that I have in the education system. So thank you so much for conveying that.
Thank you. It was really good, and I think the photos and everything really help people to become even more aware of what's going on and how these children have to go through all these struggles just to get an education. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Yeah.
I think it's not obvious for people like me, for us, because we've grown up with schools that are really nice and an education system, that's much better than what's going on in China right now. And so being able to, with this presentation and the pictures, it was easy for me to see what's actually going on in the world with the education system and how many children don't receive even half of what I've received. And so it was very informative.
Yeah, really interesting. I did really enjoy it. I didn't know about any of this to begin with, so it was very interesting to hear about it, and I liked all the graphs, especially to see how many students, because it's crazy for me to think about, because I have never been in that situation with so many people, so to see more of what that would look like if I was someone there and what I would experience, that was really interesting. And you had a lot of really good stories and just a lot of information, which was really helpful to understand what was going on from lots of different perspectives. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I thought it was very interesting, and the photos also. I want to piggyback on that. They were powerful, and your diagrams were really excellent too. But I think that it takes it was a very artistic presentation. You know, that it was visually very cohesive, and even with the language difference of the writing in Chinese, you could still understand what was happening with your presentation alongside. So it really held together. Excellent.
Thank you very much.
So,
Thank you, all of you.
I want to thank Dr. Wei Jiao for preparing this presentation. Some people also were not able to make it, so we're taking a video so that they can access it later. And I know Dr. Jiao took a lot of time because it's all in the second language to prepare the slides and the talk. And so thank you very much, and we want to give her another round of applause.
Thank you.
And thank you very much,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Wei Jiao.
I can blow for you. Thank you.